Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Sincere from the Standard 81 podcast. Go ahead and hit that like button. But before we get into anything tonight, let's just take a quick 30-second break to get our mind right. Here we go. And we are back. Happy New Year. I haven't seen you guys since last year. uh, anyways, if you watch any of the recent things I've done, I'm slowly getting back into uh, my schedules and regular shows and doing TikToks as well as Instagram. I did do Instagram this week just because I I just don't want to put out content just to be putting out content. I actually want to give it some thought before I put out content. So that's the reason I didn't do Instagram this week, but I will be doing Instagram next week. Anyways, tonight you see the title. You see the title up there, and I'm gonna put a quick banner on there as well. Give me a second. So the title of the show is called Men Love Consistency and Routine. Let me say that one more time. Men love consistency and routine. And there's a reason for that most people neglect to really look into. Uh, and for most women, they think that is boring. They think that is somehow boring because men like consistency and routine. But I'm here to tell you this: without consistency and routine, you have nothing. Let me say that one more time. Without consistency and routine, you have nothing. Because consistency and routine is what makes plans work, is what makes dreams work. It's what makes it's what makes things happen. See, consistency and discipline revolves around two things. It revolves around this one thing and this one word: discipline. And see, what I am seeing nowadays is when people talk about excitement and happiness and enjoy happiness and all this good stuff, they're not talking about necessarily um, a happy feeling or enjoying something that is good in life per se, outside of materialism and money. They're talking about chaos, the chaos of it all. Specifically, women seem to like the chaos and the drama that comes along with toxic relationships, not knowing that consistency and routine is what builds a happy and long marriage. Now, let me get off the ladies. Why do men love consistency and routine? There is one reason. And if you have a good man, this is the reason why. It gives him stability in life. Let me say that one more time. The reason men love consistency and routine is because it gives them stability in life. Now, there is a book, and I know I said this last year that I think every man and every woman should read, and it's called "Men Think Like Waffles, Women Think Like Spaghetti." Right? And because men think like waffles, we are often able to compartmentalize our thought processes and the things that we do into different things. And in order to do that, there has to be some kind of consistency and some kind of routine to it, or else it's throwing off the whole thing and we forget about it and we put it away in some other compartment in our mind. Now, why do you think women see that as boring? Well, because according to the book, what the book says, everything for women kind of flows together, right? Their emotions tied into their responsibilities, tied into the way they do things, and everything just kind of flows together. This is why most women are considered great multitaskers, because the thought processes flows into everything. It all blends together. So there's no disconnect. Where with men, we tend to focus on one thing at a time, one task at a time, and continue to go down the list. That's where consistency is put in. That's where routine is put in. See, where you have consistency and you have a routine, you kind of can measure where you're going, right? With that consistency and with that routine. How can you say that? Well, easy. If that consistency and that routine is continuing to help you move forward and progress in life, then that's something you need to stick with in your life. Like knowing how to save, like knowing like uh learning how to cook, learning how to do laundry, learning the fundamental basics of adulthood, learning how to pay bills, learning how to balance a budget. If you learn how to do these things early and keep them consistent and have them on a routine schedule, these things help you progress throughout your life. Then as you continue to elevate and grow as you would like, you're able to take those same principles in which you are now so disciplined in because of the consistency and routine, and you're able to apply that in every situation. And now when you come up and you elevate or you upgrade, whatever you want to call it, it's not a hassle because the discipline is there, because the consistency is there, and the routine is there. Now, why do people see this as boring? Because oftentimes it's tedious. It's tedious work, it's monotonous, it doesn't seem fun, right? If you know anybody that does logistics, they will tell you that counting items and looking over details is not the funnest thing. A matter of fact, my sister is in the army, she does logistics, and she can tell you um, counting weapons and doing all the other stuff that she is tasked to do is not always the funnest. But imagine this. Imagine something happens where we need the ammo, where you need the utilities, where you need the guns, right? And you're out there and you need these things, right? And nobody knows that they were running low, but you're in the middle of the battle, and then all of a sudden they say you're out. All because you didn't want to check. You didn't feel like it was necessary. And I know I'm giving an extreme example, but these are the things that we fail to think, because oftentimes we live in the here and now as people in general. We live in the here and now, but the people who make it successfully, the men who make it successfully, always have checks and balances, always have a way of measurement, always have something that they can look back to. And that particular thing is usually a routine or something that they consistently do and go back to in order to check what it is that happened and what it is that is screwed up. Without the consistency, without the routine, what you have is chaos. What you have is a bunch of unthought out things that you're just doing. You're not really putting together a successful formula in order to move forward. You're not putting together a successful way to continue to move past where it is you're at. You're just flying by the seat of your pants. With consistency comes organization, which is a great characteristic for a man to have. With routine comes because the development of discipline. You want to know why certain men don't make good fathers? It's not because they don't want to be loving and they don't want to be caring, at least some of them, but some of them just don't have the discipline. Some of them never had to be disciplined. Some of them don't have the consistency nor the routine or never been shown how to do that. So, what are you expecting from somebody that doesn't have any type of routine and any type of consistency in their lives to do? What kind of example are you expecting for them to make outside of the one that they know and the one that has been shown to them? I'll wait because I can already tell you the answer is nothing. The answer is none. They're not going to make any progress in what they're doing and in what they're saying because they have no example. Now, as a Christian, we look at the Lord Jesus Christ as our example of what manhood is and how we're supposed to carry ourselves in society. And it's a lot easier said than done because you're trying to match up line for line with perfection, which is absolutely unfathomable and unrealistic. But here's the fact. Here's the other reason why men love consistency and routine. It also shows you where you lack. You never know where you can improve or where you can or what you need to elevate in without consistency and routine. What's the purpose of practice? For those who play sports, what's the purpose of practice? Practice is the purpose of practice is simply this. It's to continue to elevate those things that you do well and work on those things that you don't do so well. That's the purpose of practice. The purpose of practice is not just so that you do monotonous stuff. It's to continue to harness and grow and elevate the things that you do well by putting some kind of consistency and routine together and then taking the things that you don't do because each time you do it, improve on those in hopes that in putting in that time and in putting in that consistency, you will improve in that particular thing throughout the routine of that practice. And that will become second nature. Now, why do I say men love this and acting those women don't? Let me first say this. I don't think that that women don't love consistency and routine. I just think it's harder. I think it is harder for women to get behind a consistency and routine because it's not anyway. Consistency and routine is not connected to emotion. Consistency and routine is connected to logic. Consistency and routine says, despite what I feel, I'm going to do it because dot dot dot. I'm going to go to the gym because I want to be in shape, because I want to look better, because I want to be healthy. I'm going to save this money because I want to have a long-term savings and be able to do certain things, and I have goals and financial goals in mind that I want to accomplish. I am going to have a routine and have consistency in this because dot dot dot. And nowhere within that is anything linked to your feelings. I'm going to go. Let's take that gym example. I'm going to go to the gym because I want to get in shape. I want to be healthy, and I want to look better. I know many of men, despite how they may feel terrible. They may feel not uh, unlike going. They don't feel like doing things, but because they have a goal, they will push past how they feel that day and go, even if the workout sucks. They'll push past and go. And I'm not saying that the ladies don't do this because I know more and more ladies are getting into working out. I know more and more ladies are getting developing disciplines as far as um, work ethic and stuff like that. But I'm saying it's harder for most ladies to develop consistency and routine because it is not tied to emotion. It is something that has to be practiced. It is a habit that is needing to be built. And where you have routine, there's not much consistency and routine. There's not a big barrier for feelings to get in there because routine says, regardless, I'm gonna do it. There's three things I like to do when I wake up in the morning. Number one, I get up, I pray, and I study. I study my word and I do some journaling. Number two, I'm going to shower and then I'm going to make my bed. I'm going to make sure my room is tidy, right? I'm going to make sure my place is tidy. Number three, I'm going to grab my coffee. I'm going to feed my dog and then I'm going to get out the door for work. Whenever those three things are off, and I don't care how I can switch the how it's done up, but if those three things are not done, something is off for me, especially that first one. Time with the Lord and journaling and praying. If I don't do these three particular things, something is off. Irregardless of how I feel, if I know that I have to do these three things in order to set my day in order for me to be organized, in order for me to focus and make sure that I'm taking the next step, because that's how I get my mind right. That's how I get into the zone and I am able to say, okay, the next step is this because I've checked off this, this, and this. And now the next step is this. Once again, men think in compartments. So when we get up at our morning routines, when we get up in the morning, is the thing that helps us focus. It's the thing that helps us get our mind right. It's the thing that helps us gain clarity so that we can move forward and progress in the things that we want to do. Because now we're ready. We've checked that off. That box is done. We can leave that box till tomorrow. And now we're in the next box, and we're in the next box, and we're in the next box. The reason I say men love that is because it's a box we can check off. Consistency and routine is like boxes. Ladies, you should know this. Think about the list you make. My mom oftentimes will write down lists, right, of things she wants to do and things she needs to do. And the problem is, even though she's got a list of things she wants to do, things she needs to do, she'll often deviate from those lists and wind up getting things or wind up doing things that are not even there. And hours have passed, and she's like, I didn't get all I needed. I didn't get everything done that I wanted to get done. And I have to call her and tell her, hey, look, you got to focus in on the list. You got to focus in on the list. Do those first, and then after the list is done, then do the other things. But she gets to the store and she's like, oh, and remember, everything for women is interconnected. You get to the store and you got the list in your hand, in your mind, on your phone, and then you start thinking about other things. Oh, and I could get this because I got this going, and all this stuff just weaves together, right? Ladies, I here's what I'll tell you. Here's a way to tell if a man is of consistency and routine. Go with your man to the store, or go with your husband or your boyfriend to the store, and allow him to shop his way. Watch him, unless he is genuinely searching for something. Watch him go into that particular store, whether it be the grocery store or whatever it is. Pick out those things and leave. It'll be 20 minutes max. Because he's going to be focused on the task. He's got the list in hand. And he's like, I need to check this box. Now, after I get those things, he might turn to you and he'll say, hey, babe, is there anything else you want to pick up while we're still here? And if you say no, watch him proceed to the counter or to the register as quickly as you say no. I know that's the way it is for me. Because in our minds, what we had to accomplish is over. That's how you can determine whether or not a man is a man of consistency routine. He's going to do things in a particular way and in a particular order and in a particular fashion. So let me drop this cue for you, ladies. If you've ever asked your guy or your man or your husband to do something for you, don't expect him to do it right away. At least without telling him. Because in his mind, those things don't interconnect for him. He is focused in on whatever it is he's focused in on. And he's going to stick to that consistently until it's done. And then he's going to move on to the next task. It's not that he didn't hear you. It's not that he didn't love you. It's not that he didn't want to do it. But whatever it is he was doing at the time, he's going to finish. And though it may get you upset because you feel as though whatever he's doing at the time is not productive for you, without that mindset of productivity and consistency and routine, just imagine where you'd be. Broke, helpless, homeless, wondering where the money's coming from. That's if you have a good man that does what he's supposed to do. See, spontaneity is good up until it's time to get things done. Then all of a sudden, when it's time to get things done, it's like, let's get organized. Let's get a plan together. Well, you can't get a plan together and be organized where you've never been organized and you never had a plan. You can't expect for someone who has never been organized and never had a plan to all of a sudden get a plan. This is why most men who have a purpose and a goal in mind, love consistency and routine. It helps them to organize their purpose. It helps them to put things together in a proper perspective. And it helps them to move forward in a way that makes sense for them. And each man has a different way of doing it. But I promise you this, if you ask a man who is truly on his purpose and truly trying to move forward, he's going to have some kind of consistency and some type of routine that he does on a day-to-day basis in order for him to move the way he moves. And the more successful he is, the more routines and consistencies he's going to have. A rich man is going to live by a very meticulous schedule and is going to have a program that needs to run a certain way. Yes, does he have carved out niches of time for spontaneity and different things that he would like to do? Yes, he does. But that is all scheduled around a certain routine that he goes through from day to day to day to day. That's what put him in that six-figure place. That's what put him into the CEO spot. That's what got him to be the successful entrepreneur that he is. Any man that is successful and going places loves consistency and routine. It's something that they live by. It's something that they stick to. It's a focus on their lives and in their lives. Let's look up some definitions here real quick and see what these particular words mean. All right, so let's just do this here real quick. Give me a second. I'm gonna share my screen. Let's pull these up. All right. So we're gonna look up here in the dictionary. I'm gonna look up here in the dictionary. What consistency means and what routine means, right? We're gonna pull that up here. If we can get this to go here. what's going on. All right, maybe not. Give me a second here. Try to get this thing going one more time. All right, something's going on with my with the doggone thing here. But let me grab my phone here real quick. Give me a second. When all else fails, I go to the phone. All right, so I'm going to look up the word consistency here. And I'm going to read it straight from the dictionary. Consistency. It means agreement or harmony of parts or features that come together with one another as one whole. Of conduct or practice with. The degree of firmness, density, velocity, and resilience in movement and separation of particular particles. Firmness in constitution or character. I think B and definition C describe those what I'm talking about the best tonight. Firmness of constitution and character, and practice with. In order to have consistency, you got to practice. And then when you get that practice, you see that you have a firmness in your constitution and in your character. Let's see what the word routine means. Give me a second here. Just looking it up. All right. So here it is. A regular course of procedure. A habitual or mechanical performance that establishes a procedure. A sequence of computer instructions performing a particular task. So I think definition 1 and B describe what I'm talking about the best. A regular process, a regular course of procedure. A habitual or mechanical performance of an established procedure. You see how those two go together? They both talk about something that you do on a regular basis that indicatively builds character. You want a man of character, you want a man of high quality and stature, make sure he has consistency and routine in his life. Because if he flies by the seat of his pants, you can doggone well best believe that in the relationship with you ladies, he is not going to be faithful or committed. Because nothing in his life shows that he has the discipline in order to do that. You know what a good question to ask a man would be? Hey, what does your morning routine look like? And if he can't answer you what his morning routine is, you may not want to talk to him that much. Because any man with a plan is going to have some kind of morning routine. It installs discipline. It installs structure. I made a video about that called Structure. And I forget the exact title of it. I have to look it up on YouTube, but it's basically in the same vein. Discipline, structure, and one other words. I can't remember it right now. But it's basically in the same vein. Without these things, without these things, men are not men. They're boys. Discipline, this consistency and routine develops discipline. That and discipline has nothing to do with the amount of money you have, the status, or the things that you possess. Because there are plenty of people, and there are plenty of examples of people who had plenty of money and had many possessions, and all of a sudden are broke. There was an ex NBA star who made millions and millions of dollars and winded up homeless. I forget the dude's name, but he was a pretty decent basketball player and winded up homeless. How do you go from making millions of dollars in the NBA, being one of the top stars there, to all of a sudden being homeless? There was no routine in your life. There was no consistency. You're just living by the seat of your pants. If you want excitement, go out, get a PlayStation, pick up a hobby. But don't live your life without some consistency and some kind of routine, some kind of habit that can help you get to the next level. And ladies, if you are looking for a real man, not a high value man, and when I say high value, I'm talking about money, as in money wise. Because there's dudes that make money and they don't have consistency or routine. And they'll wind up leaving you destitute and broke, mentally, physically, and even emotionally and financially. Make sure that man has consistency and routine in his life. Forget about the excitement. Go for boring. Ladies, you're supposed to come in and help us to improve our lives. Help us to help give us that excitement. We give you the discipline and the structure. You give us the excitement and the awesome things in life that y'all put together. If you're looking for us to give you that, something's off. Because any man worth his weight is going to have consistency and routine tied to his life in the vast majority of it. Does this mean that there's no room for spontaneity? No, it doesn't. Does this mean that there's no room for feelings? No, it doesn't. But what it does mean is that when everything is said and done, he's going to stick with what works and what got him to the place he is in now. Because that's what he knows. And that's what's also going to show him where he needs to improve and where he needs to go. You can't have anything in life without first putting together without first putting together a routine and then being consistent with that routine. That installs once again discipline. You want to know why you got thugs out here wilding? You want to know why you got people out here doing a bunch of craziness? Because there is no consistency or routine. People are out here acting crazy because there is no discipline. There is no structure. We're too busy, and this is the last thing I'm going to say, and I'm going to wrap this up. We're too busy trying to reinvent and redo and and fix everything, even some of the stuff that's not broken. We're trying to so hard to remake the world into what we think it should be as individuals that we have lost the consistency and routine that made us the great nation that we are today. We have lost our full minds. Some of us are starting to figure it out, but other of us is going to take time. And let me say this: let's get it together before it's too late, because it's starting to get there. Let me say this, and I'm out of here. Life is about people. I know I'm about to go off on a tangent here. Life is about people, and in order to touch people, you have to have a plan. You have to have some type of structure. You have to have some type of discipline because people don't follow people who are undisciplined and don't have any type of plans or goals. Even negative ones. Think about how many millions of people followed Hitler, even though his thing was negative. He had a plan, he had a structure, and he was consistent with that thing. He had a routine you had to follow. If a man can take those same two principles and turn people into maniacal, hateful, and rude and prejudiced people, imagine what we can do if we apply these same two principles to our lives and say we're going to be loving, kind, and caring. And the way we're going to show that kindness, love, and caring is by being consistent in our character, being consistent in the things that we do, and having particular structures set up in order for us to succeed and not fail. Don't get me wrong, life is filled with a bunch of failures. But amidst that, there should be some way to analyze it. There should be some way to figure out where you're going wrong. This is the whole reason for analytics. Let's look at YouTube just real quick, and I promise you, I'm done. I'm done after this. Promise you, I'm done. Let's look at YouTube. If you look at if you're a content creator on YouTube, what do most people tell you to do? Look at your analytics to see how you can grow. See look at the demographics. Look at all this stuff. To see how you can grow your channel. Now, don't get me wrong. There's a certain part that you there's a certain place where you can't look at analytics and you can't look at numbers when you're first beginning to grow and you're first getting things started. But you gotta be real with yourself at some point and say, I need to look at these charts. I need to look at these graphs. I need to look at these analytics. When are people even viewing my stuff? When are people viewing other stuff? What are hot topics that I can use in order to draw attention? Do I need to work on my thumbnails? These are all the things that I am learning as a new content creator here on YouTube. Is my stuff too long? How do I figure out this editing thing? Do I like the live? How do I show more personality during my videos? How do I capture my audience? All stuff you got to figure out. But the only way you can figure it out is to have some kind of way to measure it and some kind of consistency in measuring. That's where the consistency and the routine comes in. So once again, men love any man that's on his game, is on his purpose, is doing things in order to accomplish something in life, is going to love consistency and routine. And ladies, if you really want a man that's going to get you to that next level, is going to be that guy that really sees you as value, make sure that he is a man who has consistency and routine. And that's all I'm going to say about it. Everybody, go ahead and hit that like button. Likes are free. And if you're watching this after the recording, go ahead and type second watching that in the comment section. Check out my Instagram over there at Sincere the Artist. Check out my TikTok at the Standard 81 Podcast. I got a lot of stuff going on there. And that joint is growing little bit by little bit. The views are crazy for somebody that just started, at least in my opinion. As well as get ready for next week. I got some stuff coming. I got some guests coming. And like I said, hopefully either this month or early next month, I will be having a very special guest, one of the more known podcasts. I'm keeping my fingers crossed. We've been in contact, keeping my fingers crossed. I'm not going to say who he is yet. Just know it is a him. That we can collab here on the internet and do an interview, do a sit down. But yeah, hopefully that will be coming soon. Anyways, guys, have a good evening. I hope you enjoyed this one, and enjoy your new year. Have some consistency and routine in your life. Peace.